So before we get started with the actual video, I just want to remind everybody I am actually on Twitter/X. Go and check out the link below, and you can go and follow me on Twitter. I do a lot of posts on there. I also, when I stream to both YouTube and Twitter. So it might be worth having a follow on there of me. Right, so as you can see, we're going to be talking about the whole Ruper Lowe situation in this video. I just want to say, these are just my opinions on what I think of the Reform Party. I voted for them back in the last general election because I thought they were going to be a real force for change. And it just seems like I've made a mistake again, just like I did in 2019 when I voted for Boris Johnson. I think we're in a similar situation, that they're not going to be the thing that we want them to be. I firmly believe now, with everything that's come out now, that the Reform Party is a placeholder party. They are controlled opposition, and their purpose is just to sit in place where a right-wing party would sit, but they're blocking a real right-wing party from being created. That's what I think the whole idea of the Reform Party is now. And you've only got to look at the evidence that they're not building infrastructure within the party. They're not democratising. They're not creating standard policy for everybody within the party to follow. There's just none of that going on. And these are the concerns of Ben Habib and Ruper Lowe, who were trying to get these things put into place in the background, and it was falling on deaf ears. They were being ignored. Indeed, we heard yesterday that Ruper Lowe was being frozen out of meetings. He was mocked. He continually asked for dinners with Nigel Farage to discuss things, and he was just totally ignored. He was frozen out. So I don't consider the Reform Party a real alternative. People keep saying they're the real force. They're going to make change. No, they're not. They're not going to do it at all. They're not going to do anything. That they are just a nothing burger party, as far as I'm concerned now. So we're going to take a look at this guy here, this fat tub of lard ex-Labour advisor who looks like he's one Burger King away from a heart attack. That smug look on his face. But when you watch it, you'll understand what I mean. So we'll just get into the video.
James?
Dear me, how far you have fallen, Tim, from your Conservative days.
You'll be calling me vile next.
It is a real shame because, you ask what's wrong with Ruper Lowe, dude, and I'll tell you, he is an ethnic nationalist. All that man has talked about on X for weeks now is skin colour, is about white English people.
No, I don't think that's
national identity.
I don't think that is fair. He's talked about hang on a minute. He's talked about unsustainable illegal immigration into this country. He's talking about values and cultures and norms of British society being eroded. That's what he's talked about.
No, he's talked continually about white English, white.
And what exactly is wrong with that? What is wrong with a British politician talking about the native population, talking about the plight of young, white, English boys that have been ignored? What is wrong with that in this country? What is his point?
Says that young men, he's espousing some of the narratives put out there by the likes of Andrew Tate, that young men are blamed for everything, that they are the basis of all our evils, and that's incorrect, that's wrong. He has taken the Trump playbook. He is one of the most right-wing and far-right figures in British politics.
But he's also got a point, which is that we have ignored white working-class boys for too long.
If you invite somebody into your party...
Is that not true? We have ignored white working-class boys for far too long in this country.
We've not ignored white.
Yes, we have.
It's not about skin colour. It is not about skin colour.
So he's saying that Ruper Lowe is actually an ethno-nationalist simply because he's raising the issues about young men being demonised, especially boys and young men being demonised in this country for being white. And what have we got to back up for that? What evidence do we have for that? Well, we have diversity, equity and inclusion laws, which are basically racism against white people. Those laws just basically mean less white people in specific jobs, doesn't it? So this sack of shit here is going on calling Ruper Lowe an ethno-nationalist. He doesn't know what an ethno-nationalist is, by the way. He hasn't got a fucking clue what an ethno-nationalist actually is. Ruper Lowe is just basically defending native white British people, and he thinks that's offensive, even though we're in a majority white English British country. He thinks that's offensive. I don't think he would find it offensive if we went to somewhere like Pakistan or India and the politicians there were mainly speaking about the issues of Pakistani natives and Indian natives. I don't think he'd find issue with that. But for some reason in this country, talking and trying to defend the native population against dangerous and discriminative measures is somehow racist. This is the type of political commentator we have in this country. Absolutely disgusting sack of shit, in my opinion. Let's not forget, right, I actually released a video earlier today highlighting the fact that young boys are being demonised for being sexual predators when we know that there is a disproportionate amount in our society, a certain demographic that were imported to our country who are doing all the abusing, who are doing all the sexual assaults against young girls, who are hanging out outside schools taking inappropriate photos of young schoolgirls. But this sack of shit never mentions any of that because he's part of the problem of the situation that we're in. He's a product of our indoctrinating school and education system who teach people like this to hate their own country and to hate anybody that dares to try and stand up for us in our own country. This is Vindicator signing off.